Hey everyone, Cosmic Mango here, your favorite mango from outer space. So after like 200 or something videos, I've decided to finally present myself to you all. So this is me. Hi everyone, hope you're all good today. So I thought it'd be fun today to show you my actual commander decks. So we'll sit down today and have a look together at all the decks I currently have. I've had loads of decks throughout the years, but right now I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's sit back, relax, and check out what I've got. Okay, so first off, I'll show you the actual commanders. We'll talk about the commanders, and then we can actually later on skim through the decks. All the decks are in the deck boxes here. So okay, let's start off with... Okay, so let's start off with Aret. I don't know if you can actually see the card, so what I'll do is I'll get the card up on the screen for you. So Aret of the Charmed Apple is a legendary human warlock creature. She costs 1 black, 1 white, and 1 generic mana to cast. She has 2 power and 4 toughness, and she says each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life where X is the number of auras you control. So this deck, the way I built it was I wanted to have as many auras as I can in the deck, enchanted onto opponents' creatures to hopefully stop them from actually attacking me throughout the whole game. It's quite fun, and I'm a big fan of global life drain, so the idea is I want to get as many auras out as I can and hopefully drain life and gain life at the end of is my end step? Yeah, at the end of each end step for my opponents, giving me life. So yeah, it's fun. It doesn't perform as well as I wanted it to, but it was fun. It's a fun deck. Okay, the next one we have Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes. This one's actually a planeswalker, which can be your commander, and it has 3 loyalty counters when it comes in. It costs 1 green, 1 red, and 2 generic mana to cast. Alright, there's a lot of text on here, so bear with me. Legendary Planeswalker, when Minsk and Boo Timeless Hero enters the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. For +1, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature with trample or haste. For -2, sacrifice a creature. When you do, Minsk and Boo Timeless Hero deals X damage to any target where X is that creature's power. If the sacrificed creature was a hamster, draw X cards. Okay, now this commander is really fun to play. I've had it for about a year and a half now, and I don't feel like breaking it. Every time I want to... There's times where I'm like, okay, I need to break this deck to get the creatures out of it, but I just can't. It's just very, very fun. So how I built the deck is loads and loads of big creatures, high power, and I basically sacrifice them to deal damage to my opponent's lives. It's really fun. So you build a big board state of huge creatures to attack with, and then if you want to try and finish someone off, you basically fling that creature at your opponent's life total and deal loads of damage. You can win games really quick with this. I've even got ways of doubling, tripling my creature's powers so that they become absolutely massive, so I can literally KO people in one hit if I manage to fling it using Minsk's ability. This deck has red in, so I'm also running the spell Fling. So if you can fling something and then also use Minsk's ability, OP, really fun to do. Great deck. Okay, the third deck, Gausin. Gausin Starn Kelemorph. I call this deck the Gunslinger deck. It costs 1 red, 1 blue, 1 generic mana to cast. It's a legendary Tyrannid human creature, 3 power, 2 toughness, and it has Ward 2. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 2 generic mana. But the really good bit, whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Gausin Starn Kelemorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. So yeah, this deck, the Gunslinger deck, you do loads of damage bit by bit. So the aim is you want to be doing 1 direct damage to something, either a creature or a player, and have Gausin out to then add an extra 2 damage, so you're dealing 3 damage each turn. This stacks up really quick, really quick, and before you know it, you can start zapping people's life totals down really fast with this commander. It's mad how much damage you can stack up over a turn with this guy in the late game. Super fun, highly recommend this one. Really fun commander. Okay, now we're getting on to my favourite commander, Right now, this guy's my favourite commander out there. This is Tavout, Cosmic Imposter. Again, another Planeswalker commander. So he costs 1 red, 1 black mana, and 5 generic mana to cast. He enters with 5 loyalty counters, and he says the following. As Tavout enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with. You may play cards exiled with Tavout, Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast those spells. Okay, you see where this might be going? So, for +2, exile the top card of each player's library. For -3, exile target artifact or creature. And his final ability, the ultimate, -8, exile all cards from all graveyards and add 3 red mana to your mana pool. Okay, so, I love this deck. How I built it is I try to steal as much stuff as I can from my opponent's decks. So every time I play this deck, the games are unique. They're always different, which makes it so refreshing and really enjoyable experience every time you play it. I never ever get bored running this deck. I'll be honest, it doesn't win that many games. It's really hard to win with this deck, especially because he costs so much mana to get out. But I've stacked up the deck with loads of mana rocks and instant sorcery spells, which gives me mana each turn, so I can build up mana quickly and get this guy out as soon as I can. That's not usually a problem. The problem is people are always attacking Tavout and they know what I'm trying to do and they don't like me stealing their stuff. But yeah, once he's out, you usually do the +2 ability, which means you exile the top card of each player's library, which if you carry against 3 opponents, that means you're going to get 4 cards that turn. And you get to keep those cards and cast them whenever you want, because even if they get rid of Tavout, you've still got the experience counter, which is amazing. So for 7 mana, you get 4 cards. That's pretty good value. His -3 ability is super interesting. So if someone's got a really powerful creature or artifact on the board, you can steal it. You exile it for -3, and then you can cast it whenever you want, because you still have that emblem from Tavout, which is pretty awesome. People forget about that ability. So if someone's got like a Blightsteel Colossus on the field or something, you can steal it and attack them with it, which is pretty fun. And his -8 ability in the late game is bonkers. If you do get to that part, you usually can win a game. I mean, if people's decks are stacked with 10 or more cards and you exile all their decks, you're going to get like 30 cards that turn. So it's mad. So very good. Just make sure you have enough mana to back this guy up, so you can also cast him and then also play all the things you're stealing. Awesome commander. My final card is a commander I actually don't play very often. It's my CEDH commander. So this is a Nila, the Blade Blossom. It's my most competitive deck. There was a time where my friends and I were trying to build the strongest deck that we could. Okay, so we all picked a commander. I picked Nila. One of my best friends, he built a Kess deck, which was really strong. Loads of decks were around at that time, and all of us trying to win games as fast as possible and pushing commander to the limit. It's fun when you first start doing that, but you quickly get bored of it. Games are too quick. People win out of nowhere really often. Games are boring. You can kind of tell what's going to happen by the second turn. Not a big fan of it anymore, but I still have the deck. And Nila, Blade Blossom, costs 1 red mana, 2 generic mana to cast, has 3 power, 2 toughness, human warrior creature, and it says whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking for 1 of every color, so white, blue, black, red, and green. Untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until the end of turn. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Activate this ability only during your turn. So yeah, you can play every colour in this deck, which is super fun. I've stacked it up with all the best lands I could get hold of. That cost a lot of money. I remember when I was building this deck, it wasn't cheap. I usually win by going infinite with attack phases, finding ways to just keep untapping her and attacking and building heaps and heaps of warriors. That's how I usually won. But I also played the Facet Oracle combo, which was really powerful. I mean, there were times where I'd actually just aim for that combo instead of going infinite with her. That combo was bonkers. Because you have access to all the colours, you have access to all the best tutor spells, so you can very quickly tutor for the Facet Oracle combo and all the pieces you need and just win with that. Anyway, yeah, very powerful commander. In fact, probably one of the strongest CDH commanders you can build. Okay, so they're my commander decks. That's all 5 of my commander decks. Have any of you built these commands before? Do you have any recommendations on how you would run them? Let me know. I'd love to know in the comments. Okay, now let's actually have a look at the decks themselves. I'll show you some of the cards in there. We're not going to talk about every single card, because otherwise we're going to be here for a very long time and I don't want to bore you away. So yeah, let's have a look at what's inside these decks. Okay, so let's actually look at some of the decks. So it's going to take me forever to show you what all the cards in my deck are. Okay, so let's go through some of my favorite cards and the cards that my deck can't live without, in my opinion. So let's start off with Minsk and Boo. So we've got cards like Gausin, Primal Hunger, which is a 12/12 creature, really easy to get out because of its ability. So you can basically fling this at your opponents, which is really fun, do loads of damage. Elvish Piper, she only costs 4 mana, and for 1 mana tap, you can start putting in huge creatures into the board with ease. Super good creature. Fling, we spoke about this. This combined with the actual commander means you can fling 2 creatures a turn, and you can deal devastating damage. Nice combo. Ulamog, just a really good, huge creature. Does a lot of work. Prevents people from doing stuff. Great card. Unleash the Fury. So with this card, instant speed, you can double the power of target creature until the end of turn. So let's say you've got something like a Gadda on the board. 12/12. Double it, yeah? Becomes 24/24. Then use a fling, and you can deal 24 damage to someone, which is usually enough to take someone out straight away. Very cool. Soul's Fire, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. Again, think about what you can do with this. So you could do something like double Gausin's power, yeah, with Unleash Fury, make it 24. Use Soul's Fire to deal 24 damage to a player by targeting Gausin, and then you can fling the Gausin and do another 24 to someone. Really nice combo pieces. And the final card, Pathbreaker Ibex, which amazing creature, which whenever it attacks, creature you control gain trample and get X+X until the end of the turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. This is what we care about, okay? We want to make our creatures as huge as possible so we can actually attack with them and deal loads of devastating combat damage, but then we can also fling them afterwards, which is awesome. Okay, so that's Minsk and Boo. Okay, number 2, let's do Aret the Charmed Apple. So we have things like Pheresis, which is an aura. Enchant creature has infect, which is hilarious because you can enchant opponent's creatures, giving them effect, and hope that they attack someone else. With Aret on the battlefield, they can't attack you anyway, and they can start removing players for you, or enchant your own creatures, it's up to you. Darksteel Mutation, another aura which can shut down a load of people's creatures. All That Glitters, another great aura which can buff up our creatures based on how many enchantments we control. It means our creatures can get huge very fast, or use it on opponent's creatures if you want. Elish Norn, just a really good creature, great for buffing up our stuff and lowering the power and toughness of other creatures our opponents control. Smuggler's Share, I love the card art on this card, just great for drawing extra cards and stuff like that. Painful Conjury, which is quite a good win con for the late game, as whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless he or she discards a card. So in the late game, people can lose a lot of life because of this. Open the Armory, I talk about this card a lot on my channel. It's superb, really good at searching for in your library for an aura or equipment card that you may need. Find something that can help you win the game. Only costs us 2 mana, awesome card. Sram, Senior Artificer, this card does so well with our commander because we're playing loads of enchantments and auras, yeah? So we'll be drawing a lot of cards thanks to Sram to keep our hand filled with great stuff. Generous Gift, really good removal spell. And Curse of Exhaustion, you choose a player and they can only cast 1 spell each turn, which is hilarious. You can really slow down people. Really good against aggro decks. Okay, that's Aret. Now, let's look at the Gunslinger, Gausin Stan Kelemorph. So, Impact Tremors. You're dealing 1 damage whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. 1 becomes free because you do an additional 2 with Gausin. You can do loads of damage with this, so for the game. Awesome. Defiler of Instinct. Whenever you cast a red permanent spell, deals 1 damage to any target. Really, really good with our commander. Kessig Flamebreaker. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Kessig Breather, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, with our commander, that becomes 3 damage, so super good. Red Elemental Blast, one of my favourite counter spells in Magic. It's a red mana counter spell, but you can only counter target blue spell or destroy target blue permanent. Oh yeah, you can also destroy, which is nice. Firebrand Archer, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Firebrand Archer deals 1 damage to each opponent. Super good card with our commander. Prodigy Pyromancer, for tap, he deals 1 damage to target creature or player, so you can start destroying opponent's creatures with this guy, or if you have your commander out, you can do 1 damage to an opponent, meaning they'll take 3 damage in total, which is pretty good. And everyone knows this card, Consecrated Sphinx. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. So imagine how many cards you can draw over the game if you got this guy out. Usually whenever I cast it, it gets removed, instant removed. So I never really get to utilize it that well, but it's very powerful. Okay, now Tavout, my favorite deck. Tavout Cosmic Imposter. Mana Crypt, I spoke before, we need to get as much mana as we can. Mana Crypt being one of the best mana rocks out there in the format. Very expensive card though right now, bit ridiculous to be honest. Vial Smasher the Fierce, whenever you cast your first spell each turn, Vial Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's converted mana cost to an opponent chosen at random. I love this card, I've had this as my commander before, it's just really fun to play with and helps you deal damage to people, and you need ways to deal damage with this commander because you need ways to win the game. Cunning Rhetoric, whenever an opponent attacks you and or one or more planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library. You may play that card as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. So again, a really good way of gaining card advantages and stealing from opponents. It synergizes really well with our commander Tavout. Twilight Prophet, I adore this card. It's just really good at draining life from opponents, giving us extra cards, also giving us back life. Also, you can attack with it as it has flying. Superb card. Toxic Deluge, one of the best board wipes in the game, full stop. Does wonders in this deck. You need board wipes in this deck because it's likely you're not casting too many creatures. Tavout's Trickery, very interesting counter spell, worth trying out if you haven't got one. Fan Dynamo, again, solid mana rock, really good in this deck. Exquantinate, this is probably one of my best win conditions in the deck. Okay, highly recommend this card. Helps me win games, many games before. And finally, Karavek the Merciless. It's a legendary creature, human shaman. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, Karavek the Merciless deals damage to target creature or player equal to that spell converted mana cost. Again, this is a card that can help you close out games. You need ways to deal damage to opponents with a deck like Tavout, and Karavek helps you do it. I know it costs 7 mana, but remember we're playing loads of mana rocks in this deck, so it's likely you're going to be able to get them out quite easily. And finally, let's talk about the CEDH deck, which is Nila the Blade Blossom. So we have Dranith Magistrate. This card is really powerful. It stops your opponents from playing their commanders. It's OP, really OP card. Cryptolith Rite, which combos really well with Nila, helping you go infinite. Thassa's Oracle, one of the best win conditions in CDH right now. You combine this with Worldly Tutor and Demonic Consultation, and you can win a game incredibly fast with these 3 cards. I've done it before. Super good. And finally, Bear Umbra just combos really well with Nila, helps you go infinite with ease. Really easy card to do an infinite combo with. And I also made these tokens a while back. I actually forgot I had these, but it's got Zerho from One Piece. I'm a big One Piece fan, so for my warrior tokens in this deck, I have Zerho, which is pretty sweet in my opinion. Okay, so that's all my commanders that I currently have. And oh, by the way, let's not forget, this here is a playmat from Playmat Designs. They make awesome playmats, really good quality, really durable. They feel really good as well. So if you are looking for a playmat, check out my link in the description below. It has a coupon code for you, so you can get a really good price on these. And they've got loads of great art styles that you can pick and choose from. I chose the Galaxy one because I'm Cosmic Mango, you know, a mango from space. So yeah, go check out the designs. If you like any of them, pick one up. Honestly, it's worth it. This one's lasted me quite a while now and it still looks brand new. So yeah, they're all my decks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, stay tuned for some more stuff in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, and goodbye.